Good Wednesday evening, meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center with this live update. Taking a look here at the current Doppler radar imagery across the region right now. We do see some showers and thunderstorms on the board, so that's impacting some of your plans, but a lot of you are staying dry right now, and that's the good news. I know where I'm at in the Stark area, we haven't seen any rain today so far. We'll watch to see if anything fills in on the Doppler later on, as we do have some of this action that you can see here. I'll kind of back it up a little, and you can see that we'll have to keep an eye on some of this here later on in toward Bradford County, for instance, where it's kind of dipping on down here. So just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. As I back that up one more time, you can watch as some of the action here from the McClinney area, for instance, tries to work its way down. So we'll kind of keep our eyes on that to see how things do above. Current temperature wise, you're seeing 88 right now in the Keystone area, 88 toward Gainesville. As I broaden the view out some, you see 82 at the Jacksonville International Airport, 88 in Lake City, in fact, and then even further out a little bit, you see up toward 90 now, Tallahassee, getting a little bit warmer there in toward Leon County. And even looking for some other 90s on the board, you see Gadsden County there, up in toward southwest Georgia as well. We do have Bainbridge at 90 degrees. And even as we work across the state there of Georgia, you see 90 degrees there as we get out towards St. Simon's Island as well there, technically at the McKinnon Airport in Brunswick, but in that general area in Glenn County there in toward southeastern Georgia. So some areas not seeing that rainfall here around, and they're getting a little bit warmer. We do have that rain, though, impacting some of these communities. So let's go ahead and go to our other Doppler radar technology right now in terms of the GR level 3 tool that we have, and we're going to show you how some of this action is going. It'll give you a little bit higher resolution look at things, and you'll be able to see here in toward Baker County right now, for instance, around McClinney, what I was just alluding to a moment ago near Interstate 10. We're going to watch to see how this evolves over the next little bit of the tracks. More action towards St. Johns County, Clay County, in this general vicinity. You kind of get the idea here as we're looking at some of it on the Doppler. And then as I kind of broaden it out, you see some action off toward the west. And we'll go over to our Tallahassee radar right now on our radar scope computer. And we'll go ahead and show you a little bit better vantage point on some of this moisture here. In fact, to be able to kind of see what is happening in toward this area. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and take me off the screen for just a second here so you get a better vantage point. And you see some of this action trying to dip down from the north. They're up toward Cairo, up toward Thomasville, Quitman, Lake Park as well. So we'll see how some of that translates down into toward maybe parts of Jefferson, Madison, even Hamilton counties here over the next little bit. And then around Perry, you see some little bit of some action there, and then even over toward Liberty County, not far from Wewahiska, you maybe see some dark clouds in that area, and we are seeing a downpour there in toward Liberty County right now. So something to watch on the Doppler. We'll keep our eyes on that, but let's go ahead and move away from that technology right now. We'll go ahead and put me back on the camera for now. I might check on this here in a little bit if we need to, just seeing what the radar is showing. But again, right now you see back to north central Florida, southeast Georgia, even over there if you look toward the first coast as well, some of the shower and thunderstorm action around. And when thunder roars, you want to go indoors, of course, because at this time of year especially, that's when we have the most lightning related fatalities. So you have to be really careful out there. You just have to remember that when you hear thunder, that means it's close enough to strike you or something around you and cause issues. So you have to be really, really careful in these type of situations here. I'll continue to watch this overall. And now let's go ahead and jump over to some of those WeatherStim cameras. I know you want to go on a little camera tour. Some of you may be kind of stuck in the house here with the coronavirus and not able to really get a view at things here. Let's go ahead and do that right now and show you what is happening across the region. And we'll go ahead and show you the Union County Emergency Management camera right now toward Lake Butler. And you'll be able to see some clouds, but some sun. Sun's kind of shining there over my shoulder. And you kind of see that here. And you see some of these clouds. They are in the distance a little bit, but not too big of a factor overall. And that is the good news here. Not too big of a deal. Another view here. Again, we will watch the storms from the north, but Union may not really get impacted by them too much because of the direction another camera angle we're going to show you now. Let's take you over to the baseball grounds in toward Jacksonville, Duval County. I know we're simulcasting on all our different platforms here today, so if you're watching from Tallahassee, maybe over on Twitter, Jacksonville on Facebook, you might be watching on YouTube as well, or in between here, some of these areas on different platforms. Thanks so much for tuning in here today, just trying to provide this here on different platforms. We're trying some new things. We're probably going to try to have some type of schedule out here pretty soon. Maybe try to limit the simulcast to a certain amount of days per week. We'll kind of get into details more on that here as we look ahead. But again, here's that view into where Jacksonville and Duval County, the baseball grounds. You see some sun trying to shine through here, but we have some of those clouds around as well. So something to kind of take note of here. We'll watch that. And another view right now we have is the stadium camera there, FSU in Tallahassee. You'll be able to see what is happening toward Leon County, for instance, and you see that sun shining bright there. That's great to see there. I know everybody's hoping they can get back on campus there in the fall. It's going to be kind of limited probably, but we'll just kind of see how things go. I know some people on campus there in different departments, things like that, but as we look ahead, we'll be kind of seeing hopefully things get better here, and things will try to start to get back to normal at some point as we're looking ahead. I may not be too soon, but one day things will get back to normal here, folks, and we'll try to hopefully be able to give you some of those game day forecasts even here at some point in the future. So that's your WeatherStim camera there right now, though, above the stadium, and we'll be able to kind of keep our eyes on some of those, keep our eyes peeled. And again, you see the accent around north central Florida, southeast Georgia right now. Some of the accent toward the first coast as well, as I've alluded to. And we'll look back again at that Tallahassee radar right now just to give you another glimpse here at some of this. We have some boundaries in play even. I know some of you kind of wondering about those. So let's kind of see that real quick. I'll show you how this is moving around here, around the region. You do see a boundary here. So it's kind of always interesting to see exactly what happens with those across our region. We're going to keep our eyes on that situation here for sure, just to kind of see how things evolve with that boundary here. And I'll put this into motion. It might take a second to load, but we'll be able to kind of get an idea of where this is moving even here, putting things into motion. You see some of that here on the Doppler radar. Looks like we're seeing the accent, for instance, in Taylor County weaken some there with the boundary in the vicinity. So something to kind of watch, something to kind of see here and take note of on your Wednesday evening. So that's a look there one more time at the radar scope computer. I'll go ahead and come back on the camera again, and we're going to switch you over now as we look ahead toward the national picture. Now we have some things to talk about nationally that are pretty important. In fact, I know there's a tornado on the ground in Minnesota being reported there. So we want to go ahead and see what is happening in that area right now and zoom on in. You'll be able to see the tornado warning polygon in play here. This goes, it looks like, until about 6 p.m. Central Time for Central Otter Tail County, an interesting name for a county there, but a confirmed tornado located near Dalton, or 13 miles southeast of Fergus Falls, moving east at about 20 miles per hour. And we're going to be watching this because the Amazon tornado has been confirmed by weather spotters. So Battle Lake, also later on, looks like some other communities in the path here as well with this tornado on the ground. So we're watching this carefully. You see some of these reports, and they're even saying large tornado here according to some of these reports as they kind of back it down to the south a little bit. So that's not good. We don't want to hear that. Large tornado on the ground at 1/2 mile from the interstate rest area, seeing debris lofted in the air there as of just a little while ago. So there is a tornado threat, severe thunderstorm watch in play, but I'll be able to pull the tornado threat on here. We'll kind of overlay it. We're actually right on the edge of this, in fact, as the threat said, maximize a little bit as we get further off toward the east. So that's something that's kind of intriguing to see here as I kind of overlay things toward this part of the country. So we're going to watch that here to see how it does translate. As we look ahead later on, you'll be able to see what is happening in towards some of these areas. Again, we are watching this accent here out toward areas not too far from Dalton, Minnesota. The rotation tracker not even showing up that strong, which is interesting, but I think we're really far from the radar because I was looking at this right before I came on and it looked like we were looking at pretty high up into the storm, so that could be a limiting factor here. But reports of a large tornado there, so people need to be on guard. Tornado risk later on here, areas around Duluth, as we've kind of alluded to. Other communities here, Little Falls, up toward Floodwood as well. So just keeping our eyes on that. And then another look here at the watch overall. You see a couple of them now on the board, in fact, as we're getting more information in from the Storm Prediction Center. And I'll kind of run these down. We, in fact, even have 3 of them here at this point issued there by the offices and consultation there with the Storm Prediction Center. Storm Prediction Center actually issues them in consultation there with the weather offices, of course. And we're talking about the severe thunderstorm watch for portions of central and northeast Minnesota, far southeastern North Dakota, far northeastern South Dakota, northwestern Wisconsin until midnight Central Time. And then we're looking here some other watches on the board as well. We have the watch down toward the south. You see this one here, northwestern Kansas, central and northeastern Nebraska, and southeastern South Dakota here. This one goes until 11 p.m. Central Time. So I'm going to be watching for a while here with this situation and keep on monitoring. And then I watch, this is kind of unusual here up in the northeast, a severe thunderstorm watch. Areas like Portland, Maine under that, and a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Not very often you see this in the northeast areas, as there is a line of severe thunderstorms moving southeast at 50 miles an hour, and the rain there could arrive really after the wind moves in, because the wind is out ahead of this here a little bit. So there's on Portland, Maine, really watching this situation carefully. That's over toward it. It looks like some of these other communities there, like Cape Elizabeth, for instance, so they're watching that very carefully there. We'll continue to watch that. Some thunderstorm warnings here in the northeast, and we're talking about the tropics. I alluded to that in the description, and we have something trying to get going here with Invest 98L, it looks like. So that's something I'm going to be talking about here in just a second. As you kind of see, we have some moisture here, and it looks like things are trying to become more aligned with the moisture. The center of circulation may be trying to re-evolve here as we get closer toward that moisture. So you see these tracks now. Things might evolve just to the east of this, and if they do, a better chance of maybe a little bit of strengthening before it moves into some cooler waters here as we're looking ahead. So that's something to watch. Let's go ahead and pull up our graphics computer now so we kind of give you an overview of this situation, and you'll be able to see the early evening visible satellite. So when you hear we're talking about that center there, it's kind of elongated looking right here on our wind tools, but you'll be able to kind of see here with these arrows, we do have some stronger wind out here, for instance, and we have the axis more displaced to the east, but things might try to align, and then we'll have to watch to see some strengthening, some impacts here. European model, so quite a bit of rain there. Area is not too far away there from New York City even. I know Delaware, for instance, still on quite a bit on some of the model data I was looking at here a little while ago, it seems. So going to be watching that here carefully, because we could have a subtropical or tropical storm evolving here, and 70% chance now. It's gone up from 40% we were talking about yesterday. I think it was 30%, something like that here within the 48-hour time frame, but now 70% chance of development. That's what we were tracking. I know Sunday night I posted about it. We were seeing a spin in the atmosphere, but it didn't evolve before it made landfall per se. They're in toward the Florida Panhandle, but it's kind of kept itself together, and now as it moves off the coast, it seems like it's going to probably develop into a subtropical or tropical cyclone here as we're looking ahead. And as we look at the list, if it does get those winds 39 miles per hour sustained or higher, it will be classified as phase. So there's your list here. Next name after that would be our G name there, and then H after that even. So we're moving right along, really. Already getting our 5 storms here as quick as possible. I mean, that's just interesting to see, and in fact, that is the earliest we've ever gotten through 5 names on the list here. These Atlantic storm names. We've never had 5 name storms this early. Doesn't mean we're going to have a busy season here, but it's something that we have to watch, and I mean, it's something that we really have to keep in mind here. I mean, maybe we'll get really lucky here, and things will start to kind of fade away a little bit here in terms of some of these threats overall, and we'll see a situation where we just have to kind of deal here maybe with some storms that are kind of recurving off, and maybe we'll kind of get lucky. But right now, most of the reliable information does show that we're going to have a pretty active year, and we'll have to be mindful. Maybe it'll be a year like 2010. I'm trying to look here on the bright side. That was a year where we had storms just recurving in the Atlantic Ocean, for instance. So even though we could have a busy year, it's looking like we will. It's not a guarantee. And then if we do have a busy year, it could be really bad, but it also could be a year where we have a lot of storms that miss us, and you never know. It only takes one. Back in 1992, I keep saying this, but Hurricane Andrew was a year not very busy at all. The first name late in August, and it was one of the most catastrophic storms the U.S. has ever seen. So it only takes one. I mean, one terrible storm there in 1992. Numerous storms in 2010 where we had things recurving and not as impactful a year. It just, again, I mean, people in the Panhandle, you know it well, especially some of my viewers there in Gadsden County, Liberty County, over towards southwest Georgia. You were really, really impacted by Hurricane Michael. It only took one storm to cause devastation, unfortunately. So we're going to go ahead and look ahead, though, at some more information now. I'll try to get a little bit lighter here on the topic, and we'll go ahead and show you here that forecast model as we're looking ahead toward that Thursday at 7 p.m. You are seeing here some showers and thunderstorms around now. We could have some isolated severe weather, kind of the threat we've seen today here. Storms trying to get strong, not quite getting the severe limits there so far, but we'll kind of watch to see, because the way things are, if you get the storms to develop later on, you don't get that shower action earlier on, you have a situation here where these storms are able to try to maybe get going a little bit stronger in terms of their overall intensity, and then maybe produce some damaging weather with the added daytime heat. And I know we got to worry about that heat index here as well as we're looking ahead, because that could be dangerous. But I know today, for instance, what's kind of limited the severe potential around is that warm air aloft, but we'll have to watch to see if that kind of changes here as we're looking ahead. Might be able to get some of those updrafts a little bit more favorable for some severe action around. So we'll just have to continue to watch that here as we're looking ahead toward the weekend, with warmer temperatures, meaning more scattered nature in the action, but could be stronger. As we look ahead now to that extended outlook, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, what I'm alluding to here. You see these temperatures are going to be very warm. You can see them on the board here, warming on up. And in fact, just I want you to use extra caution when you're outdoors. You want to stay safe. You got to be really careful here. You see these rain chances going down some, but that doesn't mean the intensity of the storms will be going down. The intensity of those storms could be a little bit higher because of the more discrete nature of things overall here, as we're still going to have quite a few of them around, but they might be able to kind of hold off here and become a little bit stronger. We're not 100% sure, because this time of year is one that's really, really unpredictable here, but we'll continue to watch things here in the Weather Center. And as we look at the Tallahassee Valdosta area forecast, we're tuning in maybe over from the Twitter platform as we're simulcasting on all of our different platforms here tonight. You see these rain chances falling down a little bit, but again, there's temperatures rising on up, so you need to drink plenty of water if you're going to spend time outdoors here. You just got to be really careful as you're outside. Maybe having a mask on, it might make it even feel a little bit more uncomfortable out there for you. So you just got to be really careful here with these heat index values reaching those high levels. We could be talking about heat index values over 105 as we're looking ahead, because of that moisture around, those high temperatures around, and causing some issues in some of our communities. So got to be careful with that. But that pretty much does it here for your Wednesday. Stay safe out there. For now, meteorologist Casey Cloud. I hope you have a great night.